Hi, and welcome to Learning Kitchen Live. As always, thank you to our friends at Boston Scientific for supporting this programming. And I am Beth. I'm one of the dietitians here at Community Servings. So today I'm going to be making a roasted broccoli salad, which doesn't sound all that unique compared to what we usually make, but we're doing a little experiment. So according to the internet, you can actually roast frozen broccoli. Secret is I haven't actually tried it before, so I'm hoping that the internet is not wrong and that you can actually roast frozen broccoli. So why do I want to do this in the first place? Well, a lot of times broccoli or other vegetables, we have to worry about always restocking our houses with fresh vegetables. And broccoli lasts a while in our refrigerator, but having frozen vegetables like frozen broccoli, we can always have them on hand. And I've definitely had times where I really wanted to make something healthy and fresh and bright for my family, but I didn't have anything fresh or bright in my refrigerator, and so I had to go to the store. And so I've always sort of wondered, what can you do with frozen broccoli? I think when you steam it or just cook it in a pan, it kind of loses some of its luster. So roasted broccoli really brings out kind of the nutty, different type of earthy flavors in the broccoli itself. So I thought this would be a great experiment to make a salad using frozen broccoli that we roast, and hopefully it will come out. The reviews say it will. We're going to check it out. So I have this huge bag of frozen broccoli. The other benefit of using a frozen vegetable is that you don't have to do any prep. So it's already cut, it's already ready to go. So if I came home from work and I was trying to get a meal on my table in 20 minutes, this would be a really good shortcut for me without actually having to spend extra money. Because if you buy pre-cut vegetables that are fresh, you're definitely going to pay a premium for that. That is not the case with frozen vegetables. So this is a 2-pound bag. I don't actually need the whole thing. I need about 2/3 of this. So what I'm going to do, I've preheated my oven to 425, and I'm just going to take this and put about 2/3 of it straight onto the sheet pan. And you can see that it's already in bite-sized pieces. It looks, nice and fresh and bright green. And another thing that I think we say all the time here is that frozen vegetables are just as healthy as fresh vegetables, sometimes even more so, because when they freeze them, they kind of lock in the nutrients, and so over time, some of those nutrients, if we were getting these fresh, would lose their they would lose their potency over time, but that's not the case with frozen vegetables. So I'm just going to cover most of my pan with those, and then just for some extra flavor, I have a shallot, but you can do this either with a shallot or red onion or any kind of onion that you like, and just spread that out as well. And I've just sliced it up nice and thin, and we're going to roast that as well. So the original recipe for this called for some bacon. And so we don't serve pork products here at Community Servings, but if you wanted to do the bacon in the original recipe, you could just chop it up and actually throw it in raw with the vegetables that I'm going to roast, and it would cook up just with those things too, and it would give it a little extra smoky bite. So then what I'm going to do is just take some olive oil, and I'm just going to drizzle, it's about 2 tablespoons of oil, just drizzle it over these guys and just give them a good toss. So, this is a huge sheet pan. If you're doing this at home, you probably would want to do it either in 2 pans or, that way, the more space you give when you roast something, the better. And you can notice I didn't thaw the broccoli, so it's just going to go right in frozen. I'll just toss my onions as well. And I'm just going to add a little bit of salt as well. So about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We'll just kind of sprinkle that on. And that's it. So I'm going to throw that in the oven, and we'll get started on the rest of our ingredients. So we're going to make some nice fresh croutons to go in this salad. And I just have a couple of slices of whole wheat sourdough bread. So I'm going to do the same thing I just did with the broccoli and onions. I'm going to just cut it up, toss it with some oil and salt. and throw those in the oven as well. You don't want the crusts, so just cut them up into some little cubes. I think this would be really good with like a fresh sourdough, or even a rye bread would be really good to add like a kind of unique flavor to it. Alright, so I have a smaller sheet pan here for this. I'm just going to put some oil on the pan. And throw the bread cubes on and just kind of smush them around so that they all get coated. And then again, just throw a little bit of salt. Give them a little flavor. If you're trying to watch your sodium, you don't need the salt on the bread because there should be a decent amount of salt already in there. So this is going to go in the oven, and then the rest of our salad is going to come together really quickly, and by the time I've finished with the rest of my ingredients, the roasting should be done, and so we'll have a super quick meal. Okay, so for the rest of my salad, I am just going to do some lemon juice and salt and pepper for my dressing, and then I'm going to actually throw a can of white beans in there, so this will add a little bit of creaminess and a little bit of protein and fiber as well to the salad, so it will make it a slightly more complete meal. So I'm going to rinse and drain these. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to add some crumbled feta cheese. So this is totally optional. It's going to just add like a nice salty bite to it. If you were using the bacon, you might not need the feta cheese. You also could use any other type of cheese just to give it a little like, you know, salty bite and some depth of flavor. And we'll add some garlic as well. So I'm just gonna zest my lemon right into the bowl. Ooh, this microphone does not want to work. So this will give it like some nice brightness. Wow, this microplane really does not want to work for me. We might go with a little less lemon zest today just because I'm having trouble with this. But just a little to give it some brightness. And you always want to stop before you hit that white part, otherwise it's going to be super bitter. Alright, and then we'll get some juice. And I happen to have a strainer here, but you can always just either squeeze it into a separate bowl or squeeze it upside down so you don't get the seeds. And this is just going to make our dressing. Oh, here with my balancing. Alright, well, let's hold on to it. Okay, so there's the lemon, and then we're going to just drain and rinse our beans. And if you want the salad to be like fully warm, you could heat these up either in a pan or in your microwave just for a minute or so just to get them warm. But we're going to probably just serve this at room temperature. And you want to make sure you always rinse and drain beans so that you get rid of a lot of the extra sodium. In a strainer. If you don't have white beans, I think chickpeas would work pretty well in this as well, just to add like that extra protein and fiber. Alright, so those will go in the bowl. And we're going to just chop up 1 clove of garlic. You want to get it pretty small so that you're not biting into big chunks of garlic. And when I throw my hot vegetables in it, it will give it a little bit of softening up as well. You can use one of those like garlic presses as well if you have one of those. And what I love about this recipe is it's really versatile too. So say, you know, you have the broccoli but you didn't have the beans or you didn't have the cheese, you could definitely throw other stuff in here. You could kind of sweeten it up with maybe some dried fruit or you know, like pre-made croutons or nuts or something like that to give it a little bit more crunch. my garlic. Just gonna give it a toss. And now I'm going to check on my croutons just to make sure that they are not burning. Oh wow, look at that. So apparently it does work, but you probably shouldn't roast your shallots on the same pan at the same time. So. We've got our croutons. You can see you just want to cook them until they turn a nice golden brown like that. So we'll toss those in. And we're going to get our broccoli out as well. Well, the internet was right. You can roast broccoli in an oven. You can see it got nice and crispy and brown, and you could let it go a little longer if you like it to be softer. I personally like a little bit of crunch on my broccoli. So we'll just get that right into here. My shallot got a little bit extra crispier than I would probably like, but that's because my oven was so hot. You probably would want to turn down the oven a little bit if you're gonna do them like so small and thin together like that. So I'll see what I can get out of these. Almost like fried onions, which is kind of nice. Add a little crunch to it as well. Alright. So I'm just going to give it a toss. And that's it. And this salad can hold up if you add the croutons later. It will definitely hold up for several days. So there you have it, 15 minutes. I didn't have to really do a lot of prep. My vegetables were all cut and ready to go. And now I've got a nice healthy side dish. You can even just roast the broccoli as your own side dish because it turns out it's true you can do it. So I hope you enjoy this, and thank you for joining me for Learning Kitchen Live.